Ting, Vice President for Marketing for Nutanix. And the first to arrive in the morning on this spot in the Netherlands, historic spot. So thanks for being with us. You'll do your presentation later, but I could catch you beforehand. And what I'd like to ask you is, when we look at Nutanix, people conceive Nutanix, or first saw Nutanix as the guys who brought you a Google or Facebook type data center in a box, very easy now. And that positioning seems to have changed in the past 2 or 3 years. And maybe you can explain a bit to us what has changed. Is it still the company that brings you a Google-like data center, or what has evolved?
Yeah, so the technology platform is still very much the same. We're designed based on distributed systems, which is a lot about Webscale technologies that the Googles and Facebooks use. We've also added consumer-grade design to our products to make the product just uncompromisingly simple to use. But in terms of our messaging, what's really changed is we focus less on the what, which is the Webscale with consumer-grade design, and we focus more on the why now. And we talk about, why do you want this type of infrastructure? And really our view is you want to make the infrastructure invisible so that you can elevate the role of IT. We believe that too much money, time, energy is spent on just maintaining the plumbing in our data centers, the infrastructure, and not enough time on apps and services. That's really what drives business value. And so our view is you want to make the infrastructure as invisible as you can make it. It's still there, it's still necessary, but really what delivers value and competitive advantage is to deliver better apps and services to power the business. So we focus more on the why now, but the company is still more, less the same. We're still based on a lot of the same technology that we started with.
Right, and maybe what also could be a problem is that when you say you could have like a Google-like data center, that maybe it would only appeal to like
Sure.
bigger companies,
Yeah.
but what you do is really, it can also be used by startups. So
Absolutely.
If you scale from 2 to 4, is the same as from 200 to 400 with the technology.
Absolutely. We used a message about Webscale, but we added Webscale at any scale. And the Webscale sometimes gets confused for size. It means that it's massively large data centers that you're operating for this technology to be relevant. We tend to think that the more appealing aspect of Webscale technology is speed. Speed of operations, the agility to make changes as the business dictates. That's really what Webscale is about, and that applies to all companies. Whether you're a large global bank or a 50-person law firm, you need speed. And these days, business is based on speed. Your competitive advantage is all about how fast can you do something. And Webscale is really about that, doing things faster, having IT be an enabler for the business.
Right, and finally, when it seemed that we'd be getting at the end of a journey in IT, but when I look what's happening right here, it really seems that we haven't gotten to the finish, but we're starting on the final. Well, it would be the final on the final journey. We're only yet at the beginning of making that infrastructure invisible. What's your feeling on where we are on this moving to the really where it's like an appliance?
Yeah, I think we are still very much in the early stages of the journey, to be honest. We had virtualization, which made the server invisible, right? Because now if you use virtualization, you layer a hypervisor underneath your applications. You don't have to worry about what the underlying server is. It could be HP, it could be Dell, it could be some Taiwan-based manufacturer. So virtualization has made the server invisible. Hyper-converged infrastructure, which is often how Nutanix is categorized, has made storage invisible. Now you don't have to worry about the LUN and volume and RAID groups and all these kind of storage abstractions. So we've made storage more invisible. But there's still a long ways to go. We still have to make virtualization invisible, the networking invisible, and then the cloud invisible. Because our view is that it won't be either or in the future. It will be a hybrid world. And there will be times when you want to use your private cloud and times when you want to use the public. And you really need both. And the ability to make the usage of the cloud invisible is also a very important endeavor. So we think that we're just in the early to middle stages of this journey of making infrastructure invisible. And it's a very exciting time of transformation in our industry.
It will be. Well, I guess like all true tech guys, it would be nice to zip ahead 10 years and see how actually the IT landscape would be then. Well, I wish you a great day. You're on a busy schedule, but I'm glad you could enjoy in the meanwhile a piece of this, as I said, historic piece in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
So have a great day, and
Thank you.
we'll catch up later.
Yeah,
Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.